Welcome back, everyone. A quick video review for this month, RimWorld, a colony simulation game that I found myself playing on and off this year. I love and hate this game, yet I keep coming back to it. I can't seem to figure out why. I play it for a couple weeks, get a colony up and running in the early game, research and struggle, but advance through the mid game, and later in the late game is where I just lose interest and never finish. Except one time, by defending the ship I built, and it was incredibly difficult to defend, until I turned the difficulty to easy, which stopped all the enemies from spawning just so I could win. But I'm getting ahead of myself. RimWorld was developed by Ludion Studios, and originally was going to be called Eclipse Colony. The game started on Kickstarter and got released into early access in November of 2013. 5 years later, in 2018, it got a full release. Since then, it has gotten 4 expansions as of this video: Royalty, Ideology, Biotech, and Anomaly. The backstory is humans are spread across the universe. Planets develop in isolation, so societies range very differently from one another. Some have simple technology like Neolithic tribes, while others can transcend to machine gods. When starting a new colony, you first must choose a scenario. I recommend first-timers to start with 3 people who have crash-landed on an unknown world. You could also start as a tribe of 5, with more people to start off with, but it takes longer to advance your technology. There are harder scenarios like One Rich Explorer or The Naked Brutality. I have no idea how or why people would start with those, but I can see it making for a good story if you succeed. Then you must select which AI storyteller for generating events like raids, resource drops, weather, hazards, or animal attacks. All 3 have a choice of 6 difficulties. Peaceful allows you to build your colony without having to worry about enemy attacks. Community Builder is still easy, but it does add enemies to come and attack your colony from time to time. From there, it gets harder all the way to Losing is Fun difficulty. There is a custom setting if you want some aspects to be harder while making others easier. Cassandra is the standard one. Phoebe has more time between events, which sounds like it might be easier, but it means that events will hit harder if you aren't prepared and continue to advance your colony. Lastly, Randy Random is famous for his unpredictability. He is true to his name. Anything can happen at any time, and they can overlap and happen one after another or all at the same time. I have never tried him and I don't think I ever will, except maybe for a live stream just to see how long I can survive. Then you get to decide what kind of world you want to create. Decide how many enemies or other tribes exist on the planet, how populated, overall temperature, and overall rainfall. It will then generate the world, and now you get to choose where you crash land. For first timers, look around temperate forest tiles and choose one that looks good with some small or maybe large hills. Then we get to pick our colonists. This will be tough to decide. There are so many things to consider. What are their skills? Their overall health? Do they have a heart problem or missing limb? What kind of traits do they have? Are they incapable of certain things? Believe me, you'll spend a lot of time here randomizing your people so much. Eventually, you'll strike a balance of certain skills and what traits you are willing to tolerate. Change their names if you want. Now it's time to start the game. Now, I don't want to turn this review into a tutorial, but if I was to give some beginner tips, your settlement should look something like this to start. I'm sure other people have different designs, but starting off you need a freezer for your food and perishable items to be stored, a sleeping room for everyone to sleep in, then slowly build out from there, like a storage room for most other items, eventually giving each colonist their own 5x5 bedroom, a kitchen, dining room, and a butchery room for cutting meat. Trust me, you need to have a separate room for that. Otherwise, you run the risk of colonists getting food poisoning. Some other non-essential rooms like a recreational room, research room, a room for building stuff like blocks, weapons, beer, clothing, etc. Maybe build a prison to have the chance of converting a prisoner to become a colonist, or keep them as a slave to do boring work like cleaning or hauling. Build machines to generate electricity, hunt for food, or grow your own crops. But make sure you stack up enough for winter because nothing grows in the winter, and my colonists starved a few times because I didn't harvest enough crops. Unless you get to the late game and can build yourself a greenhouse. That's just the core part of the game. Survive until you can build a ship, or go find one and defend it until it's ready to launch your colonists into space. If you get the DLC, there's many other ways to play and different ways to win. There will be other types of rooms to build, like a throne room for royalty, a worship type room for ideology, a lab for changing the DNA of your colonists for biotech, build a facility to house the monsters for anomaly. I want to make it clear, the core part of this game is fun and worth playing. However, the DLC is something for veteran players. If you play this game and give it enough of a chance, I really think you will come to enjoy it. Then only if you want extra content to enjoy while playing the core aspect of the game, then consider getting the DLC. So far, I've only really enjoyed royalty and biotech. The royalty DLC is more for role-playing, but it does add some gameplay stuff, like one of your colonists can become a king of your colony, and over time can get superpowers like teleportation. The biotech allows me to create the perfect children so I can have the best colonists with the best traits from other species. You can build robots to do most other jobs and become a machine god. Ideology is another kind of role-playing DLC, but I never found myself enjoying what I want my people to believe in and how the culture should be in the colony. And then there's Anomaly, which I can't really say much because I haven't gotten too far into that gameplay. So far, I just keep getting attacked by creepy monsters from what looks like the Cthulhu universe. Overall, RimWorld is a great game, but has a steep learning curve. I had to watch a lot of videos to understand what I needed to do to get started. From there, I learned through trial and error. I still enjoy each playthrough, but like I said, every time I get to that late game, it really slows down for me. Mostly because I have a hard time getting advanced materials or components to build the late game machines I need. Most likely, I just haven't fully understood everything about the game. Maybe that's why I like to revisit and try something a little different. Or I watch a video from Newbert who shows everyone something we can do which piques my interest. Still, if you're looking for a relaxed experience, this might be the game for you. Up until one of your colonists gets some random deadly disease and dies a couple days later. Or an attack wave takes out most of your colonists, which delays any production for a few days until everyone is healed. Or bad weather like a cold snap or heat wave makes your colonists upset. Next thing you know, they have a mental breakdown, which could be anything from an eating binge or smashing equipment or walls. Hopefully you can just reload a save if you don't want that to happen, unless you pick commitment mode, which means you can't reload saves. There's probably another reason why I come back, and it's the unpredictability of this game that it throws at you. I just never know what kind of setbacks it will throw at me. You then need to try and mitigate that, or a colonist dies, and now you need to figure out who's going to take on those responsibilities. There is also a large modding community, and I will say, there is some great quality of life improvements, but also full overhauls like medieval RimWorld. I'm interested in trying that out at some point. Also check out YouTuber Pixel Rookie, who has an amazingly narrated RimWorld series from one of his playthroughs, as well as from other video games. If I had to give RimWorld a rating, I would give it an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching.